Nearly 1 o'clock, people. Thank you so much. I saw one person was on. I'll give it 1 more minute and then we'll start. That's okay with everyone. Centralise her up a little bit. So welcome to going from smooth to texture with Unite Hair. If you don't know who I am, I'm the creative director, Gary Baker for Unite Hair. I'm based in Carlsbad a lot of the time when I'm not on the road, in the office, creating products, photo shoots, etc. for the company, which is great. This is the first bit of education I've ever done for you guys, so I'm really happy about doing that. And this is what I generally do for when I take people through sort of like the textured environment of hair, dressing hair, etc. It's purely about, as I say, styling hair out, going from smooth to texture, what products recommend for it, and to just sort of tell little stories as well as we go. So I prepped this mannequin head on what I call my normal go-to prep for creating texture and smoothness in the hair when I want to set hair. Be it for when I was in the salon, doing bridal work, doing any sort of hair up, doing event hair, red carpet, etc. My go-to prep would be booster spray. Now, the majority of you would probably use this in wet hair, no problem. So, argument's sake, you've got the client to come in, the hair's been shampooed, but you want to take it on another journey. Dry it all off, blast it all through, then you want to start applying this on the dry hair. Now that's a bit unusual to what you normally hear, but this is how I go about that. You want to take small sections of it, section out with your finger, and give it a dusting, just like that, all the way through. Just a couple of squirts, and then you just run down it with your hairdryer on cool. Very important, you run down it with the hairdryer on cool, working roots to ends. Now the hair's going to feel pretty disgusting when you've done that. It's going to feel really matty and not very nice at all. You'll be thinking, oh my God, I've bitten off too much more than I can chew, and he's made me ruin the hair. But trust me, when you put a hot tool on it, it completely transforms the nature of it. It turns it into what I liken to an old-fashioned setting lotion. So anyone who can remember that, back in the day, us using old setting lotions and lacquer, etc., the hair had a lot of grip and a lot of body to it. Hopefully one of this side's going to be good, and what you see, I'll take the pin out, and even though I've used a huge barrel curling iron, it's got a huge amount of spring and bounce to that, because it's got longevity in it, which is what we want. We don't want to take the curl out and not see any movement in that whatsoever. So I've used the largest barrel as this as an exercise, just to show you how much holds in there. So depending on the porosity of the hair, porosity value is huge, is how much product that hair is going to soak up and how much you're going to use. So if the hair is really porous, I would say you layer on a little bit more, and as a bonus you can add a tiny bit of U oil, like if the hair is really heavily bleached, go through the ends, and creamy paste is amazing for that as well. Creamy paste is our volumizing cream, but it's like a bandage. It lays over the hair, fills the cuticles in, tiny bits of that gliding through, but boost is your go-to, and phenomenal. If the hair's really compromising, I'd say tiny bit of smooth and shine first, get that through the hair, and then go into this prep straight after. So I've done a conventional wind on that part of the head, and I just want to show you a couple of other little curling techniques that I use. I've shown all of these when the students, when they come to a runway ready. If anyone's interested in that, it's the class I use for bringing people to Fashion Week in New York, London, Paris, Milan. Everyone comes along, works in pairs, etc., and you get to go through all of these techniques in how we change the structure and the fabric of hair. It's really important that we understand that and we know how to change the fabric, that we can work with it all the time. So a few fail safes. I'm going to turn my flat iron on. I'm going to do like a modern version of a finger wave first. And you've probably seen this one done numerous times where you're tapping, moving the hair back, and all I've done is just giving you a slightly different version of it. I just find, you know, if I do little faux bobs, you know, someone wants to go out and they want a little Gatsby hairstyle, put the hair up into a little faux bob. You've only got to then do the parting area 2 inches in on this technique, and you've got yourself a little finger wave bob. So working on a small section, I'm going to pull this mannequin into the camera a bit more so you can see better. Excuse me dragging that on the floor, but that's my concrete floors. I'll just wait for that to heat up. So once again, lots and lots of boosters have been applied over this, so that's going to, as I say, it feels tacky, it feels very sort of what I call starchy. And then we come in and we start instigating that finger wave, but then we start twisting the iron as well. So thumb and forefinger separates the hair, and that creates the fold over the top. As we see, as we're doing that at the same time, we lift, separate the hair off so that the actual heat distribution becomes really, really nice and even. Keep the iron horizontal and as close to the head as you possibly can. You come over the top of that fold, come back the other side, come over again, and what you'll see is that you've got your S-bend through here, but you've got a nice little ridge in it. Come in and clamp that really nice and firm, just like that, and that creates a beautiful fold. And now you see you've got a real strong indentation out of that. So when we brush it out, I'll use a comb here quickly. Got a huge amount of spring to it. See if I've got any better light for you. There you go. You can see through here, it's got the beautiful finger wave S-bend, but super, super quick. Really easy one to do. So it's just an alternative. And great for when you want to separate and give you like an alternative beach wave as well. Really important, that one, because we obviously know that's really relevant. I'm just going to carry on and I'm going to curl that part of the hair because I want it to blend in with the rest of what I'm doing. So I'll barrel curl this with a flat iron. So my barrel curls with a flat iron. I always go right the way through to the ends. And with the hair's got that sort of like that pull, that tackiness to it, I don't try and run the iron through it. I just turn it over and I pull the hair through that, and that will just make sure that like, at that end flips under, don't get any fish hook, etc. Then I can come back down to the root base and work my iron through. Really lock that in, nice firm hold. See more of you joining, thank you for that. I hope you're all keeping safe wherever you may be. I believe you're all East Coast, LA based, etc. Yes, it's very, very strange times we've been having. But we've been doing some great lives on the Instagram accounts for that of Unite Hair and Unite Pro, and you're very nicely your bosses, etc. People around the companies approached us and asked to do some more for you on here, so it's one of your very own. I'm going to go back into curling traditionally with my curling iron. So for this, I'll go to bit of max control hairspray. So I'm using a large barrel tong, so I'm going to make sure my sections go with that accordingly. Just because I've got a large barrel doesn't mean I want a large amount of section. I'm going to split those in half. Above and below, so remember, you've got booster spray on that, you've gone in with a bit of max control, doesn't need a lot. My only recommendation is you just make sure you comb that spray down. It'll evenly apply all that product to the hair. You want that heat distribution to be really even. Come into that with the iron. Make sure we stay as close to that root base as we can. Then rotate your iron through, keeping the hair flat on the cylinder. Really important. I'm going to change my curling technique on that front section for you, give you some alternative as well. And just keep rotating that iron in, using the actual plate on the top of the iron to make sure we get all those ends in. And lock that in. I've got a nice firm hold, but the iron's not touching the head. So I can do this exactly the same, be on a model, client, etc. And what you'll find when you take the iron out is you'll notice how sort of like how crispy and hard that hair feels like, and trust me, that's perfectly normal. It's exactly what you want. As I said, we want to reduce that hair back to what I said before, like an old-fashioned setting lotion. It's got a huge amount of grip, so not only does it have a load of hold on it, but it'll stop the hair getting any sort of like static in there when we tease it, when we pull it apart, and when we manipulate the hair. It's really important. Because normally when you back brush, wave your hair, etc., it has a tendency to have a little bit of a frizz on there. So it's a really, really good safeguard for that. And I've been doing that on the hair now for probably longer than I can remember. I've been with Unite for quite a few years now, so at least 6-7 years I've been using that as my prep technique. So even though we always manufacture booster sprays to go on wet hair, just a nice little tip for you there to use yourself. When you're starting, I don't recommend a client to do it. It's got way too much grip in there and they'll have a really hard time with it. But as a stylist, so I say just recommend just get one piece of hair, try it out. You'll soon know how much you want to use. And trust me, especially on hair like this, mannequin heads suck up a lot of products. In the real world, people with hair that's really hard to curl, 4 or 5 layers of that booster will be normal. Especially, I'm not trying to saturate the hair, it's just a light dusting. And you're using cold air, so what happens is the product laminates on the hair, it doesn't evaporate because booster is heat activated. So if I used heat, obviously then I'm going to be starting getting rid of the actual product itself. I've activated it and it's going to start evaporating a little bit. So by using cool air, that's where you get that sort of, the product just stays in the hair, dries the wetness off, and it feels a bit starchy, not too pleasant, but perfectly normal. Then we come down to the front, and I do what I call a deep barrel curl on this side. That's what I think produces really, really beautiful, deep Hollywood waves, really, really well. So once again, checking my thickness of my section. It's not too thick through here, so that's what I'm checking for is like that root base down there. Don't want to feel it out here. It's like how much hair is in that root base. Is it going to influence what I'm going to curl? Once again, for the max control, top and bottom. I don't know if this is similar to Instagram Live, but I'm hoping people can ask questions as well. I don't know, but maybe not. You've got to sadly just listen to my voice the whole time. So I come in with the iron at vertical. Hands is what I call my watch strap is looking at me. And I twist it over and get my watch face then look at me. So what I've got is a flat wrap underneath and a twist wrap on the top. Okay. And then bring the iron back to nearly horizontal, because that really locks the iron in as well then. A little bit of practice on this, because obviously that plate on the top of the iron, tendency, don't let go of it, you're going to just catch your fingertips a little bit, it won't be too pleasant, you end up with a little blister. And then to secure that, to let that cool down, in that curl, we come in, we clip it underneath, and that will hold that in that spiral. Once again, we're going to go through, do the same next section. Make sure I haven't got too much hair. Always important. Hairspray. I often find people forget about this, is that distribution of product going through the hair. It's a comment that's always used when you sort of always hear session stylists at Fashion Week, we're always going about prep. And everyone thinks, oh, I can prep this. It really does have a huge difference of when you try it. And I always recommend, do one bit of hair without it, and do it side by side with a bit of hair that you've done. You've really laid up a lot of product on there, just to show the difference to yourself, how much it will help you. At the end of the day, it's all there to benefit you, make your life easier. This one's locked in because the hair's not even flipping off the iron now, which is great. I'll just slide that out. Once again, combination of flat wrap, twist wrap. Always make sure you grip it from the underneath. And that's easy when you take your pins out, coming over the top, you generally will fly into the other bits of hair. You then start creating knots, and it just becomes more and more time consuming. Once again, checking that thickness. As I always sort of seem to do that with between my two fingers, is what down the root base. It almost becomes subconscious effort. Obviously I want to change the curl size. If I want to have it slightly curlier, I can either change the barrel with a curling iron or even just use finer sections. But it's just nice to know you can approach it. If you've run out and you've left one of your irons at home, just change the sections. It will drastically influence the type of curl result you get. So once again, that twist on the top, flat wrap underneath, push the hair up the barrel so it locks it in, twist and flat wrap, bring the iron back to horizontal, it'd be nice to talk to you guys because it would be just really, so what we've got here. I go, do you always, oh, I missed that one, it'll come back. Can you just run that question up there again? It's disappeared. Unless I can press a button, I might get it. Do you curl towards the face when doing this style? Not necessarily all the time, but all I'm thinking of is like where that curl is going to go. So it's just a good example as an option. But no, whatever you may wish, my dear, it's completely down to you. And I think it just depends, you know, sometimes right-handed, left-handed, it will just depend on how you're going to go into the hair. So, you know, let's look at it going the other way. It's just being conscious of that. Just got quite a bit of hair through here, so I'm splitting that in half. Always, you know, working on these nice clean sections. This makes it a lot more easier to work, as it were. So I'm going to come back through this way. I will take the iron that way. But all I do from this side is I twist, flat wrap, twist, flat wrap, twist, flat wrap. And that's the irons coming in the opposite direction. And as you see, then I'll turn the iron that way, counterclockwise, giving exactly the same effect. For some reason, I've always liked this curl going towards the face when I do it. I don't know why. It just reminds me of years ago. See, my mother was a hairdresser, and she used to set hair on rollers all the time. And it was just one of the styles that she'd done, and I picked up from her. And you know, she'd always rolled the hair, long hair, especially curled that way, because eventually it would bounce back and come the other way. So thanks for that question. Try to keep things as quick as I can. So I always know this is the most boring bit sometimes, but I want you just to go through some techniques, different curl patterns. I'm sure you're all eager to get back into your studios, and I think you guys are going to have the benefit compared to salons, is that, you know, you've got the ability, you've worked on your own in your own studio anyway, so you're completely used to it. You'll be able to clean your places a lot faster than everyone else, and you'll manage it a lot faster. So I think you're a huge advantage of when we all start to get back to work proper, as it will say. And I just think this has been a huge bonus as well, having so much to do on social media, etc. Has been great for us. And as I said, we jumped at it when you guys asked us to come and do some lives for you. So what your next one will be with another educator of ours, Todd. He's going to be doing textured haircuts or textured hair cutting techniques. So I just thought it would be great to sort of start the process off with creating texture in hair. And I always said as well that it's so much easier when you're creating texture in hair is to take it from, you know, its best prep stage, which is like this. So taking it from smooth into texture is so much easier than trying to go the other way around. With argument's sake, a client doesn't like it and wants it to smooth it out. If you've gone texture all the way first, much harder. You've got to come back in with your smoothing tools, etc., and everything else. Whereas with this, as I'll show you in a sec, it's so much easier to go the other way. So I'd always approach it in the same manner. There we go. Weight is over. There we go. It's always good when the actual curl stays on the head. Doesn't want to fly out anywhere. Do it in one larger section. Once again, max control. I've just found this gives it not only a great hold, but it just adds a really great shine to the hair as well. And you can see the pull in the hair I'm getting. That purely is from the amount of booster that I put into this. As I said, I want to sort of boss the hair. I don't want the hair to boss me. My old boss used to tell me, he said, don't ever let the hair get away from you. You should always try to keep control of it. So if you don't wear a watch, which most people don't nowadays, or just use their phone, I just think palm up, palm down is how you want to do the twist and flat wrap. And leave that one out, fly out just a little bit, so I want that to be softer around the face. So I'll do that a lot. I just don't want to have that front one as curly as the rest of them. I just find it's just having a slightly looser, softer kink. It's nice than having it like really strong curly. And what I want to do is just show you, if I take those out, you get this lovely spiral curl. Everyone will come out now. And the best way to comb that through, I find initially, I can find my little brush. There we go. What I do. You can either use a wide tooth comb or come in with a dressing brush. I've got a couple. I've got the Unite paddle brush, which is great. It just all depends on the depth of your bristles and everything else, is how far it can penetrate down to the root base. And what we get is that we just get this lovely deep set look to the hair. And so it's got a nice amount of spring to it. So even though we use like the largest roller, sort of curling iron I've got, I just know that then now looks like what it would have done when a roller would have come out from under a hood dryer from back in the day. So I'll take all these out, which is great because when they don't want to fall down like that, it's just so I know I've got plenty of products in there when they want to stay there on their own accord. Gravity doesn't take over. So one thing we have to sort out when we say we do fashion week, etc., is that irrespective of the hair type you get in, you've got to figure out how you can curl that hair if it's a certain look. So it doesn't matter what one you get in the chair, I'll say the same people, it's just a case of figuring it out, and your product choice is going to be huge amount of bearing on that. So argument's sake, you've got maybe Asian hair that's like the glass type hair, doesn't like being curled. I always say that your options for curling it are going to always be like a curling iron. If it doesn't work with that, I always find the intensity of a flat iron. Curling it with that is probably the next best, and after that we go into setting it with a roller. I'll give us that curl the most. And that would be like a traditional sort of like wet set with some mousse, etc. So you can see through here, it's got it's got a different curl to what we have a look at in the traditional side of it. And you can see, like when I brush it, it wants to really fight me. But the beauty of that is that it wants to go back into its curl really, really easily. So I'm going to brush all these down. And I want that to have that sort of gritty noise to it, but you'll see once I brush it all through, then after all that product, you're going to get a huge amount of shine to it. But I want to have that resistancy in the hair when I'm brushing it. It'll look like a lovely big bouncy blow dry. So that's where I want to return the hair back to, is that if I prep it well enough, we can play around with all of this, and it's not going to freak the client out. She's going to still be able to walk out of the salon, even after we've played with it, which we're going to, and still feel like she's got great looking hair, which is really important. So nice brush all the way through, just like I said, old-fashioned setting. We would have kept on brushing this all through, brush it all through, remove any of those roller marks, and that's what we're after, is that the hair wants to keep going back to its curly state. Voila, look at that. Now we've got big bouncy Hollywood waves without any products going in there whatsoever, which is great. So that's my base. I just want to say, I want to play around with this. I want to throw it up a little bit, put my hands in there, just texturise it, make it a mess. I want to see that mess come up. I want to put texture in there. I want it to feel like we've really abused it. And the process now will be, will I be able to return it back to what it looked like a couple of minutes ago, and it should do. Once again, we can hear that in the brush, brushing through really, really nicely. It's still got some guts to it, and then I can start polishing that hair off. So the hair will have a nice little bit of bounce, but it will just have beautiful sheen. So, like, coming from that tangled mess that we just did, I can take the hair back. I'm just going to move this in, just to show you that there's a gloss to it, etc. Especially on that side, we've got conventional roll. So even though we teased it, you haven't got a load of static in the hair. It's all controllable. So nice little hairstyle for you. We start our texturising process off. I've parted the hair through here, and always say a recommendation, try and split the eye in half where your parting is. I'm going to come up to the top. I'm going to take a section out, a rectangular section over the high point of that crown. I'll split the mannequin around. You can see. There, so you can see that high point just there. We're going to take that out of the way, and that's going to be called what I call my covering section. And then from there, we come into vertical sections in the root base, and we just tease that root base just a small amount, okay? Just a small amount, root base, just tease it. So you're pushing the hair away from you. What the direction of the hair is going to come back this way, so take it away. Just roll your brush in, and that is more than enough. And all I'm doing is creating a tooth for some pins to go into. As I get closer to the front, I'm going to do that less and less, which is purely there just to act as a tooth for when I want to bring the hair over. And because I've got all that nice and teased, it's now I've got some guts underneath. I've now got a spot for where I want my grits to go into. So I'll grab some grits or bobby pins, as you like to call them, at this side of the Atlantic. You have to excuse my Englishness, because I can't get out of bad habits. We call them Kirby grits, because they were named after a guy called Kirby on our side of the Atlantic. So obviously we know them as Kirby grits. And you said before, you guys bobby pins, which is always fascinating when we're all the English hairdressers at Fashion Week are all screaming for grits, and all the poor Americans are all looking at us like they're starstruck. I mean, what is he asking for? We don't know what a grip is. So we don't apologise and say bobby pins. We actually do a book of translations for what we call our tools slightly differently. So just crossing over the pins, halfway up each one, just running them up the head. Now, the beauty of this is that I've prepped the hair really nicely. I've got that tooth underneath. It should stand there on its own. As you know, sometimes that is always the most problematic area, is getting the hair to stay there. So you should be able to walk away from it, assess your work, stand to one side and think, oh wow, I'm amazing, look at that. I can still do it from when I learned in cosmetology school, etc. A little bit of hairspray through there on the side, polish that off. So now I'm dealing with, I've got a huge amount of hair through here. What I do is I pull some of that down again. So I come back into all of this side of that hair. I'm going to take vertical section right the way through, from the top right the way down to the nape of the neck. I'm going to comb this through with my brush, and I'm going to twist that reverse on the other side, okay? I'll twist that through here. Just one twist. Then I'll use a pin, one of those. And I always say you go with the hair, then you come against it and push that in, and that's going to hold it. Just as simple as that. One little pin, one little grip, whatever you want to call it, that will hold it in. A dust of hairspray just for effect. I don't know why we do that, but we always do. And because we're creating texture on this hairstyle, I then start creating the texture on the hair. I'll come to the base of the hair, just start picking it out, grip it on the ends, and just feed it in with my fingers. That's fine. Now, that section we had before, that piece on the top, this bit, that's called my hiding section. So we just give that a little bit of a tease from that way. Oops, chop your head off. Just have to stay there. There we go. Don't get a headache. I'm going to use one grip. So that piece then comes down over everything that we've gripped through here. We don't want to see any of that. We want to, what I call, make that as a nice area for any, what I call, hair furniture. Be it, you know, prom hair, bridal, whatever it want to be, red carpet. But you've now got a place to put in slides, grips, combs, etc. all the way through there. I'm going to find a little home for that one. Once again, go with the hair, come against it, push that in, and I'll just continue teasing that piece up that I'm left with. So it's much easier then to work with only a couple of inches of hair as opposed to trying to do a whole lot. So it's always nice to, I think, secure it. You then take the weight out of the hair. It doesn't become problematic and becomes a lot easier to do. So once again, go with the hair, bring it back in. I think a nice bit of texturizer on that as well would be great. Have a look. I hope you guys, I don't know if you saw, but we released some 3 new dry shampoos just on Friday. They're called U Dry, U Plus, and U High. U High is going to be a great product for you to use. It's not only a dry shampoo, it's also a volumizer as well, all in one. Very different texturizer. Has a different fabric to it and a different feel, but really nice. So continuing our theme on through here. Come in, split the hair on that parietal ridge down to roughly what we call recession. Put all that hair out of the way, you don't want to see that. So when you've got hair this thick, I always think, once again, don't try doing it all in one piece. Section. So create some smoothness down there in the root base. So we do exactly like we did on the other side. I've got all this hair, and as I say, it's quite weighty. So I want to remove some of that I want to pull that back into that section. So exactly the same as we did on the other side, you know, to start with a vertical roll, whatever you want to call it. Once again, a little bit of teasing on that root base, give me a tooth for where the pins and grips want to go into. We'll then pull that back to that position and just run a couple of grips on there, just behind the ear. This is a perfect place for it to sit. I've only got to use one. That will then flip that hair forward. So once again, that girl asked me, hairdresser, I'm assuming it's a girl, sorry if it's not, about curling the hair onto the face. That I just find is a really nice bonus, is that when he wants to flip that hair back into the face. And all I do is I change now, I come through mid-lengths, use my fingers that way, just tease that hair in again. Working further up the head, section again, as I say, I've got so much hair, I don't want to do it all in one piece. I want to make sure I can work with it, doesn't get away from me. Come back in, push the hair, so I'm teasing the hair once again away from the face. Always stretch it out as far as you can, roll that brush in, so that's the technique. There's no point in it going all the way to the end, it doesn't achieve anything. All that does, it just makes the hair bounce out up off the root base and becomes controllable. There we go, it can sit in really nicely. Once again, take it away as far as you can, roll your brush through just a couple of times. So that 4 times I've done that, it makes the hair jump up straight away. And I haven't got any like teased mess on this side as well, I'm always making sure I've got it on the underneath. And what that does is then I can take that piece from here on the front, come through, comes into the back, once again where we had a nice little twist, and sits in really nicely on the inside through here. One little grip or pin will hold that. I'm not having to use huge amounts of metal work on this to hold it. The hair's got so much natural more grip into it. One, because of products and how we've prepped it. And then we can finish that front piece through here. So when I find I do the front, I just like to split that down into finer sections. Just roll. Trying to do that all in one piece, you would have a huge amount of task trying to stop that collapsing. Because we've done it in layers, I've only got now one section that is a couple of inches wide for me to grip. Everything else has been pre-done all the way up. So what I'm thinking of every time I do this is that we're trying to make it, you know, almost hurricane proof, is that we want to make sure the girl can go out, if it's windy, etc. Especially if you're on the coast, if you've got a wedding, whatever it might be, prom hair. It's just not going to, you know, just get destroyed by wind, and especially if you're still doing it in your studio. This generally gets done a couple of hours before your client goes out, so it's one of those. We want to make sure it's going to last. So we'll just check our little silhouette. We've got little rogue ones through there. Pull them in. So very, very simple. It's what I call like an entry level hair to do, but it just allows us to start understanding removing weight out of the hair and creating soft texture without going crazy. So it's a half up, half down. It's almost like your bride's staple stroke prom girl. So I want to do something a bit more fashionable after this. So we're going to get it all out. Argument's sake, girls in the chair and says, no, don't like that. I want something a little bit more up, a little bit more adventurous, something a little bit more texture. So we're like, okay, fine, that was my first attempt, so argument's sake we're doing this just like we would do on a dry run in the salon. And we've obviously heard that before when we look in the mirror and we think we've created genius and their face is one of complete horror and disappointment. So once again, we've done the prep, we haven't got to worry about it, we can change it up. I take my pins out, and that's what the beauty of not going crazy with your metal work is that you don't have to go in there and find 300 grips, pins, etc. to take out and come out relatively easy. So even though we tease the hair, we can let it out. Oh, there's one hiding in there. And more. The hair should actually start to look better and better as we keep flying around with it. So yeah, she can still go out like that. You won't be too disappointed. So I'm going to change this up. I'm going to use a small little ponytail to remove some of this hair. And I'm going to do what I call very much like a Bardot, like a Brigitte Bardot type of effect. We use this on editorials, etc. And it's a particular old favourite. So the silhouette becomes really, really important. Once again, we're going to come in recession all the way around, subdivide that off. Okay, recession to recession, so we've got a nice horseshoe section on the top. So some more guys have joined us. Thank you for tuning in. Lunchtime, I hope, for many of you. I'm starving. I've not had a chance to eat yet. Okay. Okay. Subdivided off, horseshoe section. You're going to split the hair in front of the ear as well. You're going to get rid of that. We don't want to see that part. We'll do exactly the same on the other side. Use a couple of grips through here. Trust me, I'm on exactly the same on the other side. So even though we've got a huge amount of hair, this is what I'm going to create my little really low ponytail out of. But first I want to create some, what I call this is going to be padding to create a silhouette, because I want to create a really, really nice S-bend, which is always going to be flattering to anyone who has that. So once again, a little bit more aggressive with the teasing on this now. Working on the underneath, we don't have to work both sides, we just want to make sure that hair, what I call it makes the hair into something that's like weightless. The hair can stand up on its own. You can see through here, it just pops out. So if your teasing's collapsing, you've not been vigorous enough with it, or your technique just has to sort of like improve on that a little bit. Once again, always checking the quantity of hair I'm working with. Stand on the mannequin stand. Add a little bit of texturizer into that. Should be able to stand there. And the final piece. You can see I'm always brushing through the sections I'm working with. It's almost like taking out the stuff I've done previously. Now that should be a nice little pad I've got, which is what I'm after. I'm after that when I pinch it. You see that S-bend I was after, etc. So I'm going to use a bungee cord. It's nice and simple. Those that are interested in doing ponytails, etc., want to do really successful ponytails, you want to get yourself some fabric elastic, black, brown or white, depending on the hair. This is what I use for ponytails all the time. It secures the hair in place. It's hurricane proof. Once you put it in with that, it will not come out. Trust me. Great way of dealing with longer hair as well. So you grab the hair and making sure we've got a nice pad through here. So I'm using that as a mirror, and I'm going to secure that. Now I can just pull some of that out, and really I'm working on that centerpiece. That's where I want to create that pad. Okay, so once again I've got that, it's more defined now. We want that in and out section of it. Obviously then, your classic, we'll take some of that hair, we're going to cover the band up. come back in, use a pin or a grip, that is your choice. And just work that one on the underneath. And that's what I say, the beauty of doing that teasing the root base, you've always got something for your pin or your grip to go into. Really important. If you've got hair that's really soft and doesn't like to accept anything like that, well, you've got your two choices, haven't you, from our product range. The old favourite, which is the expander dust, as you know, it's like back combing in itself. Your hair's really fine as your body. Or my favourite, which I brought, I bought this out myself. Liquid volume, fantastic for doing dressing hair, exactly putting hair up, but problematic hair, it's always what I want to say. Liquid volume, it's in a small bottle, so you know you only use a small amount. Anyone who feels a bit unsure about it, it's just meant to be used in like a little bit of a dust. Literally, that is enough on most long hair. And it's designed for making hair that is like silk, to give it a grip, to make it into suede, so you instantly have that grip into it. So that's something I would have liked in the session world years ago. So we've done that bottom piece, and now we come back into this, and in detail, that little piece of hair that we have in the bottom. Come through in that. Once again, we come back, try and tested technique mid-shaft. We come in and we just force that hair up. And we want, once again, the same thing silhouette-wise. You can see through there, we want the same process to finish on that one. Alright, we want it to be thin, fatter and thinner again. Thank you. How's that, Eric? Fantastic. Love a bit of feedback. Very, very simple. Come in, bit of texturizer, hold that in. Once again, there we go. So you can see from that, that's a classic for like ponytails, etc. That would be your Instagram picture. My God, the California girls will be all over that. They'll be queuing up to get in your door when they see that one. You could stop at that and call it a day if you so wish, but we don't want to do that. So, how do we get rid of all this hair now and create something really sort of soft, feminine? Who's worried with that? Once again, come in, split that hair in half. We don't want to try and do all of it. I come in with this. I make that teasing what I call a little bit more aerated now. So instead of coming in what I did before and put in and roll the brush, I keep it at the same angle and just tease that root base. And I want to see that hair, see that, it just stands out on its own. Perfect, just exactly what I want. If it stands out on its own like that, it's not going to fall down. Good measure. Put a little bit of texturizer in there. So we've now created that pad. That becomes our home now for hiding some of this hair. So we've instantly changed the length of the hair from that. We've come in halfway, twist and fold. We've now only got that length of hair to do. So very, very simple. It's just a great way of removing, lengthening the hair. That's why we do it in stages. Once again, I go with the hair, I go against it, come back, that piece of hair that is on here, we do exactly as we did in the ponytail, and just ruche that up a little bit, and come back in through here, and we do exactly the same on this bit. Alright, once again, soft on the teasing approach, we're going to take some of that hair out, small amount, just to let that hang out, come in, twist again. We're going to take it up a little bit higher. Doesn't matter what it looks like in the back, because you're going to just make that disappear anyway. So, if you're worried about it, you want to put loads and loads of grips in, feel free. All we do then, we tease that. So all I had there from that length of hair that was like, good and 18 inches, I've had to just work on hair then, it was just like a couple of inches long. So let's just see if you can see that working through there. That's a bit better of the light. So we just separate that in, we push that. And we'll do the same the other side. I'll do that to this side really quick. And we'll spin that around. What if I do? Spin that on there, you can see through here. See what I do, I'm going to put my light on. Okay. Bear with me, people. I've got a little light set up. I think you'd better be better off if you see that. You might be able to see better now. Hopefully you can. Once again, we do that higher on the head. Twist and fold, so I've only got that amount of hair to deal with. As you can see, minimal amount of grips and pins. We're not using loads and loads. Just being clever with what we've got. And hopefully we can see from the side what we've got coming on through here. That's better. Don't worry about that bit, it's more about do we have continuation through here. So that's great, looks nice, soft, feminine. So what do we do next? We then start working on that top piece. Once again, huge amount of hair, don't want to do it all in one go. So my initial piece is going to be just like we did on the previous hairstyle. We take a piece of about a couple of inches thick, through there on that root base, you can see through here. Once again, come through to brush all your ends through. That's what you want to see. Create a little bit of height through there on the crown. Pop that over, sits there on its own, fantastic. Now then, for this, what I do is I bring the hair together, I pinch it. Right, I just pinch it and lift slightly. Pinch and lift. That is where it's going to be where my grip's going to go in. Okay, where the grip's gone in, I've still got all this amount of hair. I'm going to do exactly the same as we did before. We ruched that up a little bit. Not only does that take the weight out of it, but it now allows me then to use some of that hair, pull that up over the top of the grip, pop that back in, and then we've got a beautifully hidden piece of hair, no grips anywhere. So what we're getting is now we're starting to get a shape that's coming from the top, it's coming down, it goes in, it goes out. So nice and soft. We come back in. So I've got a huge amount of hair on the top on this one. I've got to deal with that. So if I took it all the way back through here, it's going to look way too severe. So my recommendation for this is that I'm going to leave some of that front out. That's going to come down over a face of some sort. So this large amount, I'm going to do what I call a diagonal section through that. So I've got so much hair. This serves two purposes. So, once again, a little bit of teasing through on the root base, smooth your ends off. Now, where it's thickest on this side, so that is closer to you to the camera, I'm going to turn this over and bring it round the other side. Okay, and you'll see what I'll do on the other one. I'll do exactly the same so you can get a better look. So, I've got more hair on that side of it. I tease slightly, brush that through over that side. Come through mid-shaft, once again, want to come down mid-shaft, that's the bit you're going to control, and then I take that over this side. So what I'm left with, as you'll see, I'll spin this before I secure it, I've then got a little twist coming over both sides. Guess what we do there, we're just going to grip it slightly, right in the top of that crossover, okay, right there, where they cross out. So we use two bobby pins. I can forget those. one side, and all of that, once again, reiterate, all that teasing you've done underneath serves its purpose, gives it something to bite into. So I've now got two tails, as it were, both sides. So you've got two tails. Very, very simple. What we're going to guess what we're going to do with those. Once again, it's so much easier then to play around with those, that length. Tease that back in. Mid shaft of that section, put it back in a little bit. And voila! So what I'm looking for is a nice silhouette, hopefully. There we go. A little bit of boudoir bedroom hair going on, but it's got lots of texture. Got rid of a lot of, heavy hair. Started off in a ponytail and just gone section by section, but that's just not going to go anywhere. Then I've got the front to deal with. There's the last bit. There we go. Nice little thumbs up from someone. Thanks for that. Always appreciated. So my decision on the front, I'm not going to fight the hair. We're just going to find a good home for that. So I'm going to separate the hair off initially, just to see what that does. I love this bit where it's kicking out over that head through here. So don't fight that. We'll tease the hair down. So very, very simple. We'll just grip some of that on one side. I've taken it in where that hair bows in there. That's the bit I want to concentrate on to grip it. Okay? Because I know if that's where the bow is, that hair then kicks out on that side. She's got its natural curl on there. There we go. So we've got our little Bardo inspired bedroom hair. Should have a great silhouette, hopefully. Yep. Hope you like that. Anyone else want to give me a thumbs up or a thumbs down? Don't mind, either way. Constructive criticism, we call it. So what we were after, as we said, all the way through here, comes down, comes out, goes in, comes out again. So looking at the silhouette, it gets nice and fat and it's all skinny all the way through down to the bottom. Lots of texture. What I call out at the beginning of our entry level, coming through on here. Nice, thank you. So the acid test for all that prep that we've done, this is really important. Can she then, she turns around and says, I love that, but it's too elaborate for where I'm going today. I'm only going to In-N-Out Burger or wherever it might be. I need to go out and have it done. So she says, I'm going to do this for my prom or whatever, or when I'm good. You know, my boyfriend doesn't know, but he's going to ask me to get engaged. I know he is because he's already bought the ring. I've seen the receipt because all you girls always know everything. So she wants to take it down. Got to take it out. I haven't got time to shampoo all this again, blow dry it all the way through. Can it be returned back to something that is wearable? We certainly hope so. Trust me, this always looks even better on real hair, on a real person. I've always loved doing this, and that would be my sort of go-to for trials on bridals, etc. Prom hair, is give them always like a couple of alternatives. Instead of the picture that they bring in, Right, so I do the picture if they've really got their heart set on it, but then I'll give them a couple of alternatives of what I think is going to look way better, and take a photograph of it. Now we have our phones compared to when I used to work in a salon. It's massively important to take a picture and show them on the picture what they're going to look like, from the front, side on, and the back. Hugely important, especially when you know what they're wearing. Right, we've got all that teasing. I need to brush all that through. So I'm not going to brush all the interior of it because it's got a huge amount of body to it. I don't want to ruin that. All I've got to do is go over that surface area on the top, smooth all that out. I'm not trying to push my brush all the way down to the root base. I don't want to do that. All I'm doing is, my smoothing technique is that I'm trying to have it sort of come through at a sort of uniform depth, as it were, if that makes sense. Okay. And I come through, once again, just over the ends, just polish those ends off. Right, let's have a look. Let's see what we can get out of it. It's not a frizzy mess. It's got a nice bit of texture. It's, as you say, huge, bounce, volume, Instagrammable. But looks like a huge, nice, big, bouncy blow dry. So, I hope you enjoyed that. That was our start of our journey from smoothing to texture. As I say, we've got lots more that we could cover. We've done just over the hour on that, so I hope you've enjoyed it. It gives you a little insight into how we do that hair. What is it one? Yeah, the new dry shampoos, absolutely. Your new dry shampoos, you've got U-Dry, which is very much like our refresher. It's virtually exactly the same, but it's got slightly different fragrance, so you're more than used to that one. U-Dry Plus is a heavier duty dryer shampoo, but extremely lightweight, and I'm calling this one from the gym to drinks. So it's almost like you're using your normal U-Dry as your everyday dry shampoo. 2-3 days in, your hair's got a little bit more oil, sebum production, etc. on there. Excuse me. You want to use something a little bit stronger. U-Dry Plus is your absolute go-to for that. As I said, it has a tiny residue in there, but they'll be found that's because people want to see that for some reason when they're using it. Both cans, you have to shake them up. They've got a ball bearing in them, just like Refresher, to hear them. U-Dry High is our volumizing dry shampoo. Does not have a ball bearing in. It's got a much smoother jet compared to, obviously, texturized. You see that's not huge jet, gas, whatever. You know, it really has a large plume. U-Dry High has got a much more concentrated shot on it, but really malleable. But it's got a volumizer to it. The first two have a different type of clay than what we had in the Refresher, and the U-Dry Plus has obviously got polymers in there, natural polymers in there, the U-Dry High, sorry, to give you volume in your hair. And also they actually do, there's this amazing way of drawing the actual oils in towards it as well to sort of nullify them. They all nullify odour, all lightweight, use on any hair types, extensions, etc. U-Dry High is really great for lifeless hair and really fine hair as well. So three types. You've got U-Dry, U-Dry Plus, U-Dry Clear, U-Dry Plus, and U-Dry High. Fantastic products. You're going to love them. Thanks for tuning in. This is going to stay with you guys. I'd like to see you again. We can have a lot more fun doing more of this. Don't think she looks too bad, does she? She's a bit, Victoria's Secret right now. She'd go down the runway, no problem. So hopefully you got some great tips out of that. And we'll see you next time. Thanks.